Before one settler, ship crossed one ocean. This land already had a name. It had mothers, fathers, law, language, and civilization. What they called a discovery was already someone's home for over 15,000 years. They rewrote the maps, they raised the tongue, took an ancient living land and gave it to a man who never came. They sold you a name and buried all the rest. The Kuna knew the source long before the West.
Wake up to the light.
They called it new when it was old.
Wake up to the light.
15,000 years untold.
Wake up to the light.
Abya Yala was the name.
Wake up to the light.
They just renamed what they came to claim. Listen carefully. Let history speak without decoration. The Kuna nation of Colombia and Panama called this entire land Abya Yala, meaning land in full maturity, land of vital blood. The Ojibway and First Nations of the North called it Turtle Island, rooted in their creation of the world. The Anahuac speaking Aztec and Mexica people called it Anahuac, meaning land surrounded by water. They also called it Cemanahuac, meaning the entire world surrounded by water. The Ixachitlan name circulated among tribal confederacies across Mesoamerica. These were not primitive labels, they were geographic, spiritual, and governmental declarations. The Olmec civilization was the mother culture of the Americas, giving birth to the Maya, the Aztec, the Toltec, and the Inca. Conquests, highly organized societies built cities, tracked stars, engineered agriculture, and governed millions before any European ship left any European harbor. When Christopher Columbus arrived in 1492, he did not arrive on empty land. He arrived in the middle of ongoing civilization. He died in 1506, still believing he had found the eastern edge of Asia. He never knew the true name of where he stood. They wrote the maps, erased the tongue, took an ancient living land and gave it to a man who never came. They sold you a name and buried all the rest. The Kuna knew the soil long before the West.
Wake up to the light.
They called it new when it was old.
Wake up to the light.
15,000 years untold.
Wake up to the light.
Abya Yala was the name.
Wake up to the light.
They just renamed what they came to claim. On April 25th, 1507, German cartographer Martin Waldsee Miller printed a map and wrote the word America across the southern continent. He took the first name, America, of Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci, gave it a Latin form, Americus, then feminized it for the land. Vespucci did not discover this land, he mapped a coastline that already had people living on every inch of it. The World Council of Indigenous Peoples in 1977 formally proposed returning to the name Abya Yala. Bolivia went indigenous. Takir Mamani stated this directly, placing foreign names on our villages and continents is equivalent to subjecting our identity to the will of our invaders and their heirs. This is not theory, this is documented record. The Waldsee Miller map is kept at the Library of Congress in Washington and is called America's birth certificate. Yet the land was breathing long before that certificate was printed. 15,000 years of human life cannot be overwritten by one map made in France by men who never set foot on this soil.
Wake up to the light.
Abya Yala, Turtle Island, Anahuac, Ixachitlan.
Wake up to the light.
See the names they tried to bury.
Wake up to the light.
Say them Clovis people were walking this land 11,000 years ago. The Olmec built the first great civilization of the Western Hemisphere before Rome had a single stone laid. The Maya developed a written calendar more precise than what Europe would use for another 1,000 years. The Inca built road systems across thousands of miles of mountain terrain without iron tools. None of them were lost. None of them were waiting to be found. They were home.
This land had a name before any foreign tongue touched it. This land had a law before any foreign flag was planted.
Abya Yala was here. Turtle Island was here. The lie was the rain there, not the land.